Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Once again, massively disorganised with absolutely no warning. So if you do appear in the stream, in the chat, do say hello, but I assume I will get comments from most of you guys watching after the fact. I am here to review this past weekend's championship action. Game week number 20 is done. It's flying by. Start of another 3-game week coming up. The top two are pulling away. Leeds and West Brom absolutely flying now, both 6 wins on the trot. Preston, their losing streak continues. Blackburn's winning streak continues, and big results for Borough and Luton down at the bottom. Let's start at the top with West Brom, who had to wait until last to go again, but absolutely battered Swansea 5-1. They are really in gear now. We said, I don't know, maybe a month, 6 weeks ago, oh, West Brom have got another couple of levels. They can probably go up. Looks like they're attaining them. So 5-1 here. Ajayi heads in the first. Pereira, lovely goal. He is on his way to being the player of the season. Mark says, how was Carrow Road? Returns Brom. Yeah, I think I might do that, Mark. I was at Sheffield United Norwich, other way around this weekend, watching last year's top two. Most enjoyable. Check out the review. Barnsley says, oh, West Brom better than the Wolves team. They got 99 points. Well, we'll find out if they can get 100 points, won't they? I don't know, player for player, but hey, points is points, isn't it? So Pereira, yeah, lovely goal. Look out for him as early shout for player of the year. He's playing absolutely brilliantly, isn't he? Sweeps home, gives cut back. Surridge, who'd kept his place up front for Swansea, no Ayew or Baston up the top there. He prods in pretty muggy one from a corner to make it 2-1. Then Pereira, another assist, a brilliant reverse ball for Robson Kanu. He's got 6 in his last 9. He's got that shirt. 70, just filthy assist again from Pereira, kind of reverse chip on the run, just for Phillips to run onto and head in. Brilliant stuff. And then Edwards, another Pereira assist. He slides Phillips in there. Edwards in there. That's Pereira's 10th assist of the season. So West Brom, 6 straight wins, 10 undefeated, 9 goals in the last 2 home games, and the team just really looks perfectly balanced now. It looks better with Robson Kanu and Pereira's on fire. Diangana and Phillips, Livermore and Sawyers look great as the double pivot. Ajayi, isn't it great that he stepped up from Rotherham last year and he's at the top there? Gibbs has come. They look really, really good, West Brom, at the moment. So huge thumbs up for them. And you can see the winning streak continuing, can't you? 6 wins on the trot, and they've now blown a couple of teams away, which we've been waiting for. So brilliant stuff from Bilic and from West Brom. Swansea, their horrible slide continues. We've been watching it for a while now, haven't we? We've been looking at the numbers here on the channel. They haven't been good since that opening streak. I think 5 wins and a draw, possibly in the first 6. Fact check me on that one. Oh, Jaggy says Leeds West Brom on New Year's Day. That one sounds lovely. Tickets on sale yet? That one sounds a good one, doesn't it? So it's also Wigan versus Ipswich, hey? In other big game news, could be 2 first against seconds, couldn't they, on New Year's Day? And look out for that one. 2 points in 5 games for Swansea, 3 wins in 15 in all competition. £20 a ticket at Leeds, Jaggy, never. West Brom first, Swansea 11. Speaking of Leeds, they went first on the Sky TV cameras. Huddersfield 0, Leeds United 2. They also now have a 6-game win streak in absolutely brilliant form. No Calvin Phillips either. I think Ben White stepped forward and played in front, and Berardi came in, but they've got Hernandez back now, haven't they? So, Bosch, away they go. Oh, beg your pardon, Steve says Leeds are at West Brom. So yeah, maybe a bit easier to get a ticket, even though there's less seats. Always high demand at Leeds, isn't there? Alioski gives Leeds the opener there. He slams in the volley from a corner. Alioski's an interesting one, isn't he? Because he's by no means Leeds' most skillful player, but some kind of intensity and pace of the way he plays does improve that team when he's on the pitch, doesn't it? Hernandez, back post, heads in Harrison's cross. Typical excellence from Hernandez. A couple of good saves from Casilla, who is really in imperious form at the back with clean sheets. And Leeds' defence is just a joke now. They've conceded 10 goals in 20 games. They're literally conceding half a goal per game. 1 goal every 2 games. You don't lose many games if you concede 0.5 goals in them, do you? Leeds 6 straight wins, 9 undefeated. As I said, 3 goals conceded in the last 9 games, and 8 points clear of 3rd place. Fulham now. We've seen teams get in good positions here before. There's a lot of games in the Championship, but are we going to have a Brighton and Newcastle scenario here, and West Brom and Leeds are just going to push each other and everyone else going to try and cling on and not get anywhere near? We will see, and we'll talk about that in relation to the Fulham result. So brilliant from Leeds, in superb form, and we've said it about them all along. They're clear of injuries now, aren't they? Cooper's still out, but Hernandez is back. A lot of the key players are in there, and they just look fantastic, don't they? Nick says Stoke in big trouble. Yes, they are. We'll get on to Stoke as we work our way down here. Huddersfield also in trouble, actually. Like Swansea, 2 points in 5 games, a pretty horrible form. And we'll get on to Borough and Luton. They've dropped back below both of those 2 teams who've won 2 in their last 3. So after the initial Cowley surge has dropped off a little bit for Huddersfield. Leeds 2nd, Huddersfield 21st. I'm sure Leeds fans will care more about the gap between them and 3rd than they will the gap above them between 2nd and 1st. They just want to get up now and we need to get Bielsa in the Premier League, as much as I would miss Leeds. Fulham 1, Bristol City 2. So this is the key, that Fulham, despite winning 4 in their last 6, which is 2 points per game, isn't it? Unfortunately, they're going against 2 teams who've won 6 in the last 6. Oliver's talking about Millwall. Next game, Oliver, you hold your horses there and we'll get on to Millwall. So Bristol City, Brownhill heads home. Another assist for Eliasson. Eliasson has started something like 5 games and got 8 assists. He's just the master of crossing in with his left foot. And I wonder if there's Bristol City fans in the comments. Brownhill looks now this season like he's properly ready to, Bristol City have sold on a lot of players. He looks like he's ready to be a big money sale. He looks like the next most saleable asset now, after Webster and Kelly and Joe Bryan and Bobby Reid and all the people that have gone off from Bristol City. 2-0, Jeju taps in Naji's cross. 3 and 5 for him now. We've said someone needs to fill Benik Afobe's shoes at the top there. Jeju, 3 and 5, you roll that out over 20 games and that's 12 goals. That's all right, isn't it? So let's see if he can stay in the team. Abubakar Kamara, he follows up and makes it 2-1. And where am I looking here? Underlines his recent selections. Fulham defeat leaves them 8 points off Leeds. As I said, they've won 4 in 6, but the top 2 are going at such a pace that anything less than perfect at the moment, and you're going to lose ground on them. And there is a danger, unless there's some injuries or some real weird blip in form, of those 2 disappearing off into the distance. Now, both really posting great totals, West Brom and Leeds. Brilliant stuff, though, however, from Bristol City. Only 3 defeats all season, and 2 of those were against the top 2, which would imply Bristol City may be a solid playoff team for once. Been a few years since they've got in, 13, 14, possibly, even earlier than that, maybe Bristol City last were in the playoffs. Remember, they also had that 4-1 reverse at West Brom, and they followed that up with back-to-back victories. So Lee Johnson, he always manages to cobble something together, doesn't he? And they are now tied up with Fulham in 4th place, Fulham in 3rd. But is there a sense already? Hey, look, it could all switch. You could have a defeat and a loss for one of the top 2, and it could all switch. But is everyone else just playing for the playoff places now? Who knows? Fulham 3rd, Bristol City 4th. Millwall and Forest. So Forest in 5th place. Oh, Com says we were poor. Should have had a Stonewall penalty. Yes, I assume Com's a Fulham fan. Yeah, they looked a very iffy one. I think it might have been Jeremy Simpson, who I've had my issues with watching Ipswich as well, making some odd refereeing decisions. Millwall 2, Forest 2. This was on Friday night. Sean Williams has turned into some kind of goal machine and assist machine. I think it's an assist and 2 goals in his last 3 games. He heads home Jed Wallace's corner. Speaking of a goal and assists machine, I haven't got Wallace's stats to hand, but he's been in ridiculous form, hasn't he? Lewis Grabban does not start this one. I think Mir started, didn't he? But Grabban comes on and immediately scores. He nods in Worrell's knockback from pretty much on the goal line. Grabban then thinks he's won it for Forest. Very similar sort of goal that I saw firsthand at QPR. Check out the review of that one where Amiobi engages the guy. He stops. As he moves, Grabban makes the moves, crosses it in, and Grabban sticks it into the empty nest. They think they've won it, but it's that man, Sean Williams, again, and he smacks it from long range. And the normally excellent Bryce Samba actually spills it, and it's put in by O'Brien. Oliver says, need a goal scorer big time. And a pacey left winger, Mahoney maybe, Bradshaw, but I will bow to your superior knowledge, Oliver, if you are there every week. So 2-2, Millwall get the draw there. So Forest, they thought they'd won it, and then a draw from the jaws of victory. Easy for me to say. Only 1 win in the last 4, but there's still that big caveat with Forest. And the game against Reading, if they were to win their game in hand, as it stands, they would be up in 3rd. So highly decent stuff there. Just always this sense with Forest this season that they're just off where they could be, and we want to see them fulfil their potential, which would mean at the moment 3rd, and they always just seem to kind of slide off as they get in there. I've found this season with Forest, but very solid team, particularly with Sandbury goal, so a bit of a weird one for him to spill that right later. Millwall, so 3rd straight draw. So they're still competitive under Rowett. They're not losing, but points per game has dropped off a little bit. If you look at it, it's still very good. 12 points in 7 from Rowett. If you roll that out for the rest of the season, they'll be in the top half, and they'll be perfectly happy with that. I just think he bumped up the expectations when he won 3 of his first 4. And as Oliver was saying in the feed, maybe some business to do. We just have to keep Wallace, he says. Indeed. Forest 5th. Millwall 15th. Very bunched up in the middle there, though. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Brentford 1. Sheffield Wednesday managed to find their way back into the top 6. Brentford take the lead. Brentford don't do Northern away games, though, do they? And Buemo, well, no, they beat Wigan, didn't they? I'm talking rubbish. There we go. Buemo heads home to Silva's corner. I don't know who was marking, and Buemo, was it Odebajo possibly, but he doesn't even need to jump, and he nods that one in. A penalty for Stephen Fletcher, who's in the goals. Crazy handball by Rico Henry, I think it was, watching the ball across, and really silly one there. Could have let that go and perfectly safe. And then Fletcher again swivels, fires in Kadeem Harris across 10th of the season for Stephen Fletcher. Wednesday back in the top 6. They'd had a run of 3 points in 5 games, but then back-to-back wins, 4 goals for Fletcher in those 2. And we said when Monk took over, he always plays through a forward, doesn't he? And has a forward that scores a ton of goals. We had Jay Adams last year, we've had Chris Wood before, and Stephen Fletcher is loving playing the penalty box and often having a strike partner up with him, and he's getting the goals. 10 on the board already, so looking at a possible 20 for Fletcher if he keeps up. I know it doesn't always work that mathematically correctly, but nice job. And even though we're talking about 21 point possible deduction with the Chancery Stadium sale, Monk getting his head down and he's got them in the top 6. So superb job on the pitch. Will it be ruined off the pitch? We'll find out. Brentford, they had recorded 5 wins in 6, but only 1 defeat there. That's 2 defeats in 3 now. So they are blotting their copybook by keep throwing in these defeats, especially in away games. I'm going to say up north because I already mugged myself off by saying that. They've been looking like they're finally going to climb into the top 6, but alas, they have fallen short. And alas, I've pressed the wrong button on my laptop. We're back Wednesday 6th, Brentford 9th. On to QPR versus Preston. Preston are in horrible form, aren't they? Preston had got themselves up to second in the table. We had the big Alex Neil link to Stoke, wasn't there? We got to an international break and they've lost 4 on the trot since. Complete fall off the cliff by Preston. QPR finally getting a win and a clean sheet here. Eze, Baps says too many injuries. Fair comment. Yeah, the back 4 has been decimated for Preston. Fair point. Eze through the first one, gets blocked and fires in the second one. Chris asks, yes, I am playing at the 100 Club on the 14th. Yes, I'll be there on Saturday if you are down there. Do say hello. Kian asks, have I talked about Leeds? I have. 67th minute, Eze, typically sassy penalty from him, kind of steps up, stops, leaves the goalkeeper on his backside and sticks it in. I think, is that 9 for the season for Eze? Brilliant stuff. So Preston, yeah, absolutely rotten form. 4 straight losses. As someone said in the feed, defence decimated, but really have fallen off a cliff there. Baps says Leeds bumbling along. Still not easy to watch, but winning. Oh, Max, who's got a QPR base, different formation, and it worked 4-1-3-2. That is interesting because Warburton has seemingly tried about 8 different formations in the last 8 games, hasn't he? So they needed that win. Rangers first win in 8, first clean sheet of the season. There you go. Was the insurance Jeff Cameron possibly in front of the back 4? Because that would seem to imply clean sheet all day, wouldn't it? Jaggy says, would be cool to see you do something about refs in the Championship. Oh God, that sounds contentious, doesn't it? Yeah, DM me about that, Jaggy, and we'll see what we can come up with. Preston 7th, QPR 14th, upwardly mobile. Cardiff though, Cardiff 3, Barnsley 2, and they come from behind twice in this one. Great goal by Barnsley again. His Chaplin, he scored a lovely goal last week, or maybe last week, maybe not last game week, but I remember him sweeping one in with his left foot. Yeah, that was against Hull, wasn't it? It was last week. So Barra slides Chaplin to finish 1-0 here. Diaby arrives with Flint and gets an own goal to make it 1-1. Another own goal. Barnsley lead again. Peltier from, I think it was Mowatt's cross there. If in doubt, give Mowat the credit. Is normally a good rule for Barnsley. He's playing well this year. Tomlin, Neil Harris getting a tune out of Tomlin. It looks like he is. Lovely dribble in and poke through to Danny Ward, who finishes nicely there. And then Tomlin himself in the 94th minute, they've brought Big Flint up. He nods it on. Tomlin volleys it in. That's a couple of goals and a couple of assists. Bap says Barnsley are too honest to their detriment. Yeah, I guess he's right. Just a bit too open and maybe not enough crap housery, as we like to say. But Cardiff are on a roll now. Harris drew his first game. That is 3 straight wins, 10 points in 4 games. We said they needed to freshen up, and all of a sudden, those 10 points have put them 8th, 1 point off the playoffs. I'm sure most of us in our early season predictions had Cardiff in the top 6, but they've come a strange route to get there with Warnock now not being there. But all looking good for Harris and for Cardiff. Maybe this is a move that fits anyone as long as we get Warnock back in a job somewhere soon, because I miss him. Barnsley, just typical of their season, isn't it? They led twice in this one. Kian says Cardiff going into Leeds game, decent streak. We always lose against Welsh teams. Is that midweek? Someone let me know. I'll do my I'll stay behind with this. I'll do it. I'll do the preview tomorrow at some point. Actually, let me know in the comments, because a couple of weeks ago I did the preview right before the games at about 6:45 when the teams come out. That seemed to go down quite well, so maybe we'll do it like that again tomorrow. But yeah, Barnsley level going into the 94th minute. I remember at Blackburn in Struber's first game, they were level and they, ball into the box and they concede, and 3 conceded and 0 points again. They draw a level with Luton. Now remember, Luton went for 7 last week, 41 conceded as the worst defence in the division. Cardiff 8th, looking good. Barnsley 24th. Blackburn, where the hell did Blackburn come from? Blackburn 1, Derby 0. Brilliant goal by Armstrong. Evans slides it into him, gets it out of his feet and just slams it in the top corner. One of those lovely shots where you get a bit of fade on it, swings away from the keeper. He is never saving that routine goal. And Blackburn on absolute fire. I thought, they're getting sucked into the bottom 6. And away they go. 4 straight wins now, 5 wins in 6. They've got 30 points on the board. It took them 14 games to get the first 15, and then 15 in the next 6 games. So quite the miraculous upturn in form. Literally, nearly 3 times as good the form. Derby, its away record is just crazy, isn't it? The win home, lose away has been broken by a draw, but that is now 5 away defeats in a row. Last 10 games in all competitions away, 7 defeats, 3 draws. I saw Derby win at Huddersfield way back in August on the first game, and there's just been naff all for them since. I think they possibly won a EFL Cup game, but that was it. Connor says, can I do a show on EFL Championship? Of course, yeah, we'll be all over that, Connor. We do for transfers, we'll do a lot of individual videos because you can speak about one particular player. But if you're talking about a predictions one, we can do that as well, and probably talk a lot about Jared Bowen, who's in the next game. Rovers 10th now, Derby 16th. You would have expected that to be the other way around, but it's not, because this is the Championship. Hull 2, Stoke 1. No prizes for guessing who scored the Hull goals, but Stoke take the lead. Vokes heads home, McLean's cross, and then here comes Bowen again, just way too good for the division, isn't he? In the D, left footer into the corner from 22 yards. Then Irvine up at the back post, and he's just so lightning quick in the box, isn't he? Before it can even bounce off the knee, finishes it off. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So Hull and the Golden Boy beat Stoke. Another 2 for Bowen. Listen to this: 11 goals and 2 assists in the last 9 games. That's obscene, isn't it? So good. 5 wins and a draw in the last 8. That's 2 points per game for Hull over a decent period. Back into the top half with 2 wins in their last 3. Generally doing a good job. Bap says he won't be scoring 2 tomorrow. Reality check for Hull. They have been inconsistent, haven't they? I joked about Stoke and back-to-back wins followed by a load of defeat, and that has exactly what's happened. And every single one of these we tick off. Every Stoke game that goes by, this narrative of, oh, don't worry, Stoke will be all right, they'll get out of it, becomes a little bit less plausible. I still think they will get out of it, but the longer this goes, the more you think, no, this is a serious relegation battle. So if we now take Nathan Jones' last 5 games, that was back-to-back wins and then 3 defeats. Michael O'Neill's first 5 games, exactly the same, back-to-back wins and then 3 defeats. What happens next? Nobody can get Stoke going, or certainly not for the last season and a half, or even before that, I guess, as they were relegated, weren't they? Huge game as well. Luton coming up. Can you imagine? I think it's at Stoke. Stoke lose at home to Luton. My God, I know they lost at home to Huddersfield, didn't they? Bap says Stoke are a busted flush. I know, we've seen this happen, haven't we? Now, I never thought Sunderland would have gone down. I expected them to be in the top 3 or 4 when they came down, and they got relegated. So we will see. Hull 12th, Stoke 23rd. Still, Nick says we are getting concerned that our Stoke players are lacking character. Would certainly appear that way, Nick, wouldn't it? Reading 2, Birmingham 3, another 3-2 here. Free cone goal from Morrison. Bellingham giving it the big one after. Lovely to see. Maite powers home from Pele's corner. That's 1-1. What a goal by Bella. Amazing free kick this here. The first one we've seen from him. Right foot, top corner. A hell of a goal. Look out for him and his free kicks. Jimenez wraps it up, gets a bit of a lucky bounce, but then finishes with the left foot for 3-1. Lucas Yao pokes one in with no time left, so 95 minutes on the clock. And it is 3-2. Blues' first away win in 8. And the first time they scored 3 goals in a game this season. So they've broken a couple of hoodoos there. Bap says Bowen to Leeds in January. FFP. Yeah, difficult one, isn't it? I think a few teams in the bottom 6 of the Premier League might be ahead of you in the queue as well. And Reading 3 defeats in 4 now, so a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. Despite that great start under Mark Bowen, they got wins, didn't they? Still not clear of the bottom 6, or 1 point clear of the bottom 6. Connor says, sounds good. Bowen definitely off. Millwall fan. Don't think Jed good enough for a Prem. Be interested to see anyone brings for Rat to bring anyone in. And the interesting factor for you Millwall fans as well is Neil Harris has lots of knowledge of Millwall players. I'm thinking Cooper and Wallace in particular, and he's got parachute money. So I wonder, will he irritate all Millwall fans and go back there? Blues 13th, Reading 18th. We have got two left and two big wins down the bottom here. Firstly, Middlesbrough 1, Charlton 0. I called this one even down to the result because Borough have made a habit this season of beating the teams down the bottom by 1-0. Stephen says, convincing dominant win for Borough, something we've been waiting for. Could have had 4 or 5. Interesting. And the really good news for Borough in a season where they haven't had much good news is they're winning these home games against direct rivals. And I saw this last season watching Ipswich, who were terrible. Every time there was this winnable game against one of the teams down the bottom, they didn't manage to do it. If you're going to stay up, you win those games against the teams down the bottom. Bear in mind, a lot of the teams down there are only going to win sort of 8 to 12 games all season anyway. So you need to do it against the direct rivals. Saville, really early goal there. Fires in after Fletcher gets blocked out. Charlton, however, we've had our own Swansea, we've had our own Charlton for downturns here. This has been worrying for a long time now. They had 14 points on the board after 6 games. They've only got 9 more, so only 9 points in the next 14. 9 points in 14 games is most definitely relegation form. I know they have lots of injuries, but they're going to be in the bottom 6 fairly soon if this keeps up. In fact, they're already 17th. Trent says, a Sombalonga big loss for Borough, left on crutches. That would be a big loss, wouldn't it? But what a boost for Borough. As I say, fairly consistently beating at home those teams there, and that will put the points on the board for them. Jaggy, the Leeds fan, says maybe we should sell our stadium to ourselves like everyone else has. If you do that, make sure you put it through on the right year's books. Mr. Chansey will tell that. Connor asked my opinions on Mo Issa. As an Ipswich fan, I'd love Mo Issa to leave Peterborough very soon because he could fire them past Ipswich at some point during the season. So, definitely one of those in between, maybe too good for League One, but not quite Championship ready. We'll find out. Charlton 17th, Borough 19th. And finally, huge win for Luton here. Luton versus Wigan. Wigan take the lead, although Luton had missed some chances beforehand. Kiefer Moore, ex-Ipswich guy, powers the header home. Lovely cross in there. Can't remember who played that in, possibly Lowe. All the way up to the 87th minute, Callum McManaman gets a bit lucky, completely missed kicks, but it bounces nicely for him and he puts it in. Tom said we needed a reaction, got one classic Kenilworth Road night. Got to follow up against Stoke. Tom's totally right. They've got to not lose against Stoke. A draw is absolutely fine. But we all know Luton, that they just attack the hell out of everyone anyway. So probably won't be a draw. It'll either be a win or a defeat there. Dunkley gets a red card, second yellow, pulls back Collins. Lovely bit of craphousery from Collins as well, giving it the biggerness. Dunkley goes off and Moncur puts in a really vital winner. When you look back at the end of the season, if there's 1 or 2 points in it and there's a 93rd minute goal against one of your direct rivals, those are the moments, aren't they? So, but Luton, as always, and I'm a fan of Luton, I have to say, flooding the box at the end, going for the winner. They're proper brave attacking team, hence the 41 goals they've conceded. Brilliant win for Luton. Luton 20th, Wigan 22nd, not looking great. You would put Paul Cook. I don't know if Wigan are still the team that I remember they had 3 managers in one season, didn't they? Paul Cook could be in trouble, and we did hear booing at the end of the game against Reading. Right, that brings us up to the individual stuff. Good day for a few of the guys on the top scorers, because Grabban got 2 and Fletcher got 2. They both go up to double figures, 10. Carl and Grant, 11. Watkins, 12. Bowen, another 2, up to 14th. Mitro 15. Bap says West Brom so good. I'm happy to travel in their slipstream. Yeah, he's right. For the Leeds fans, just get as far away from third place as you can. Key passers, standard list, isn't it? Bannon, Pereira, Mowat, Brown, Swift are your key influences. In defence, West Brom 20 goals conceded, are 4th or 5th best even. Sheffield Wednesday 19 conceded. Gary Monk team. Forest Elamushi team 16 conceded. Brentford keep the ball all game, 16 conceded. And Leeds with this freakish only 10 goals conceded in 20 games. If anybody has any questions, please get them in the feed. We are on a very, very busy week, so I'll try and do split previews again, one for Tuesday, one for Wednesday. Connor says Leeds to finish in the playoffs and bottle it again. Who knows? Hey, who knows? Some injuries, a bad run. Baps says it's a hologram. I don't know what that means. Any more questions in the feed not pertaining to holograms? I'll take them. If not, I will bid everybody farewell as we get to the middle of a 3-game week. It gets very, very busy. Is there a massive difference between first and second in terms of money? Yeah, of course there is, because one's got parachute payments and the other doesn't. We know parachute payments have warped this division, but we also know, follow Kieran McGrath at Price of Football, they are a necessary evil, because sadly there'd be a lot more teams getting into crazy debts if there was no parachute. James says Luton to stay up. I hope so. I think they're good for the division. I think Kenilworth Road is good for the division, and I like it when teams go up and play the same system and the same players that got them up. They haven't spent a lot. In fact, all their big spend was on Sluga, the goalkeeper, who has been dropped. Bap says it's a business whether you like it or not. Jaggy says prize money for how you finish. No, it's pretty irrelevant, the prize money. It's the 100 million TV money that everybody gets. 3 to go down, asks Connor. Oh my God. Well, Barnsley look a bit shot, don't they? You would think Stoke will get out of it, which puts Wigan in a lot of trouble. I'm worried about Charlton, I have to say. Their form over 14 games has been not good. They need Lyle Taylor and Johnny Williams back very, very quickly. You do worry about Luton, despite what I've just said, just in terms of, they've probably got the least wage bill in the league. Someone asked, I forgot the name, can Barnsley turn it around? They need to just stop conceding 2 and 3 goals every game, don't they? It looks like they've got some good players and got some good footballers. It might just have to be one step back, 2 steps forward. Bap says Stoke, Barnsley, Huddersfield, goodness me. Could Huddersfield get stuck back in? Another year 1 parachute team shouldn't be anywhere near the bottom of the league, should they? My goodness. Who for playoffs? Looks a bit locked up, doesn't it? Fulham, there's a few teams there might not be good enough to chase the top 2. Fulham might be one of them. Forest look very, very solid, don't they? Bristol City look fine. Sheffield Wednesday probably going to get a points deduction. So then you'd look at Cardiff on the outskirts. It'd be lovely to see Brentford finally play the beautiful football and get in there. We'll see. Connor says, any news on Bart? I think he's been fantastic. We need to sign him from you. We'll give you Tom Elliott. I think they want to get the Bart deal done. Bart is on huge money at Ipswich, I think 18 grand a week. So he's going to have to take a pay cut. Ipswich might need to be a little bit ruthless with their 3-time player of the year and say, look, you're not going to get paid that back here. You need to, we'll do a deal. We'll sell you for less money. But I think if they get the right heads around the right table, they could get that done in January. Might need to be a bit creative with how they do the deal in terms of cutting that wage bill. But Bart is certainly a championship keeper. Just had his confidence ruined by Mr. Paul Hurst last season, let's just say. Okay, if Derby can shaft Keogh, I wonder if we'll see Keogh back, whether we'll see him appear at a League One team or what have you. I'm sure he's going to make a big noise and go very legal about this this business, but yeah, we will see. I preface that and everything with lots of allegedlys there as I'm broadcasting live. Thank you everybody for watching. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Check out other reviews. Always in the comments, give me ideas for what you want me to do, what sort of things you want to see on the channel. And I'm thinking I'll do the preview tomorrow as a live stream at 6:45, so check that out then. Thank you, Kian. Yeah, good luck to Leeds tomorrow. Or is that Kian? Sorry, can't pronounce the names probably. Right, thank you everybody for watching. I'm gonna go and I've got some thins, some ginger thins from IKEA, so I'm gonna go to them. Kian, thank you. Sorry, I'm rubbish with names. Is that Irish one? Watch along tomorrow, possibly. I don't know. Never tried one of those. Let me know in the comments if you think a watch along would be good. I'd need to get a couple of screens up. Yeah, Ben's easy to pronounce, isn't it? Right, gotta go. Cup of tea is calling. Thanks everybody in the feed, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Good night.